Well, I'm finally back in the river after many months. It's mid-February. It was in the teens overnight, and right now we're right about the mid-20s. So we're gonna do limited penetration into the river with hip waders, of course, and see if we could just at least find some marbles, see what how the river bottom has shifted over the winter months. You know, floods dredge things up, so we might find something. My expectations today, for just being able to, because of how cold the water is some marbles and maybe a bottle or two. So we'll see what we could do, but I am just so happy. This is where I belong. I love being out here. And even if I don't find anything today, which you probably won't see of this video if I don't find anything, I still had fun, and I'm happy to be out here in nature and finding things. Well, I'm not even a few feet into the river and I see good signs. This is a Burkhardt beer. Burkhardt beers go back into the late 1800s. This one's broken, of course, but that's a good sign. The nice thing about January, February river hunts is there's no algae or plant matter on the bottom of the water, and you could absolutely see everything. Now, I don't think this is old. That's a cork top, but that's obviously newer because of that label on there. But it just illustrates how easy it is to see stuff. I got my over elbow high, yeah, that has a barcode on it, but that just shows you how easy it is to see stuff in here this time of year. Another few feet away from that, and this is what we came here for, marbles. There are two of them right next to each other, and if that isn't a good sign, I don't know what is. Let's go under and have a look. Two very nice marbles. Got this one that has like almost a cobalt blue in it, and then a white, red, and blue. I don't know if you could see that. That is an old fuse, like for a house. I don't know how many amp that is, but there it is, an old fuse. Old pottery fragments litter the bottom of the Cuyahoga. In the summer months and late years, that would never be visible. There's a tiny little button in here. It might be plastic, might be porcelain, might be bone. Let's have a look. Another victim of the quicksand, or somebody's garbage from a long time ago. It's the bottom of a shoe. That's seen some better days. Find a lot of fishing lures in here. There's more pottery over there. There's so much stuff in here, and every year the sediment churns everything up during the winter, and this is really the best time to look, with nothing on the bottom other than gravel, sediment, and things. So let's keep looking. Here's two more marbles, one right here and one right there, and I just love this nice clean clear, well, I don't know if it's clean, but it's clear water anyway. It just rushes over this little gravel, turning things, and these things just stick out. So here's this, interesting, and then this right here, just barely visible but visible. Oh, that is nice. That is nice. Look at this. Look at all those colors. And I'm not a marble expert, but you know what? That's pleasing to the eye. Whenever you get on marbles like that, it's a good idea to just slow down, because that wasn't too far away from the other two. Maybe just get low and just scan everything. Well, same general area. Here's another one. Just staying in the same place and looking real close at everything. Nice blue one. These are some of the better looking marbles I've found out here. Two more victims of the quicksand. One there and one there. And here's another marble. Outstanding. Another blue and white. This looks like an old stoneware beer. I would not be that lucky to find this thing whole. But let's have a look at, yeah, it's piece, it's fragments. That's the kind of stuff that you're capable of finding. That would have been a really nice piece back, way back into the 1800s. That looks like a little blue peewee marble. And that's what it's gonna be. Nonetheless, another marble. Let's go find a shooter. Yet another victim of the quicksand. If you come into this river, know what you're doing and have a rake to probe out in front of you so you don't step in anything you don't want to. Well, this is just setting on the bottom, and it's a fragment of something, and it looks like it's made out of stoneware. It's hollow here and then solid here. I have no idea what that is. I think I'm just gonna take it and see if I could research it. So I got multiple layers of clothes on, but you know the water's cold when you got ice in here. The only thing that's actually cold, I'm actually overheating, is my feet, and I got 3 layers of socks under these hip waders, but I think it's manageable, and the sun came out in force, and I'm just absorbing that sunlight. There's another one, surface fine, not even under the water. It has nice color, blue, orange with brown highlights. This is a first for me. This is going to be an ice recovery. Look right there. Huh? Let's see about it. Under the ice. There it is. And here's another one. And one of the most commonly asked questions I get is, how do all these marbles get in the Cuyahoga River? One, Akron was the marble capital of the world during the golden age of marbles. Two, parents got sick of stepping on marbles and threw them away in the trash, which in those days either ended up over the hill or in the river. And three, a marble makes the perfect projectile for shooting out of a slingshot. In those days, what would be better for a young child to shoot this marble into the river and watch the splash or see it skip across the river? Another peewee. This is a special treat. Don't find yellow marbles that often. So, look at that. Another victim of the quicksand. The feet of a frozen Charlotte, and these are like little porcelain dolls of girls from the late 1800s. I think this might be an old padlock of some sort. It looks like it has the number 30 or 80 on it. Have to take a closer look. This looks like a half pint milk, probably unembossed from the 60s. Well, I don't see any embossing. Yeah, we'll take it and have a look at it after I clean it up. Here's another marble. Oh, where did you go? Where did you go? There it is. No! Slippery little guy. Beautiful. Another victim of the quicksand. And what is this? Another victim of the quicksand. Water shoes. Have a rake or something, probe out in front of you, then this won't happen. Two bottles laying next to each other. The smaller one looks like a glass bear bottle. That is Bear aspirin. And that's what we have, a Bear aspirin bottle, screw top. Another marble. We might be going for a record today on marbles. I'll have to check back on. Ooh, wow. Look at that. Yep, might get a record today. Well, I just found some kind of a gun, and this is probably going to be a BB gun. I cannot identify this thing. That could have been a cleaning rod, but it's squared off almost like you would pump this, like some kind of air rifle. I might be able to tell just based off of that front sight. So, and it's pretty heavy, but it's filled with stuff. You would think a BB gun would deteriorate, but that looks like an air gun to me, or a BB gun. We'll have a closer look. If you are not finding marbles in the Cuyahoga River, you're either in the wrong spot, going too fast, or I might have just been there before you. And there we have another one. This one's pretty big. Well, does that qualify as a shooter? I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not an expert. I find them, but that's bigger than the normal ones. Another victim of the quicksand. Here's a tiny little cork top. Looks like it's after 1900. Here's a cork top medicine just laying here. It is embossed. Can't read that in the sunlight. We'll have a closer look. Cool, we got us a cork top medicine. Here's something the floodwaters dredged up. Oh, look at that. 1930s maybe. Another cork top. Small medicine. Got some chips. No embossing. Here's a leg to some kind of glass table. Another big one. Look at that. Nice. The rocks are acting like a sluice. Right, you don't want to lose that. There's a purple and white one. There's a little milk glass. Well, that's a little bit bigger than they usually are. Cold cream. This might just be a record-breaking day. Got another gun. There it is. Looks like we got a dairy here, half pint maybe. That's what it is. Is it whole? Yes. It's a 400. Has a little chip on the top there, but there's a dairy. Well, that is my personal single day best on marbles in this river. 20. I believe the most I've found prior was 17. If you want to find these marbles, January, February, where there's nothing on the bottom, the water's low and clear, and nobody's been in there yet because it's just plain too cold, you would find a lot of them like this. Okay, let's see what we got. We'll start with the lesser stuff, like this milk glass jar right here, probably for some kind of cold cream, maybe Pond's, not marked or anything like that. This bottle here, the cork top, we said it's Sloan's Lintimate. The seam went all the way to the top, so it's after 1900. The guy that made this was Dr. Earl S. Sloan, and this was for rheumatism and arthritis, and it was originally used on horses and then later marketed for people. So he started, I think, with his brother in 1871. But again, this bottle here is made after, probably just after 1900. Then we got a Milk Container Services. This is a glass milk jar from Akron, Ohio. Not the typical ones that I find from the teens and 20s. This is probably from the, I don't know, 50s or 60s, something like that. But it's a good example of it. So That's that. What else? We got these little feet from what I said was a frozen Charlotte. I could put them with all the other little frozen Charlotte pieces that we have, these little dolls. I think that these are examples probably from the 20s, but I think the concept of a frozen Charlotte goes back into the late 1800s. This I determined to be, it looks like the arm of a person, and the time frame probably the early teens or 20s or 30s. You tell me. That area right there, that looks like cufflinks. And then you have like little ruffles here and some detail. So it's an arm that probably broke off of a statue. Nothing special. That's going to be garbage, along with most of this junk. But here's a little piece of maybe a teacup. Get a closer look at this thing. Tons of this stuff in the river. And this, I thought it might be an old lock because it had this number 30 on it. But when I researched the writing on here, I found that it is likely the base to an aluminum baseball bat. Not old at all. At least that's what I think. Then we got the Bear aspirin medicine bottles. This is the one that I found today, and it's embossed The Bear Company Incorporated. And this is an example about how you start finding like different eras and see how, the company changed over time. Here's an earlier one, likely from the 1920s, and it has the full embossing of a bear and a cross. Very interesting. It's kind of primitive, has a little bit of air bubbles in it. Then you have this one that shows the same silhouette where it's like rounded on the edge. And you could see how the company moved along, and they have this angle on here, so that's a slightly different shape. And these ones here without the full embossing would have had paper labels on them. And then you have this one here for the Bear Company, and that definitely had a paper label on it. So let's see, the marbles. The most marbles I've ever found in my life. But before we get to that, I'll save that for last. We have this. I said this was likely going to be a BB gun, and that's exactly what this is. And this is an old BB gun. I've determined this to be it's a Daisy, but it's a model number 25, and the model number 25 was made from 1914. I did find an excerpt from a magazine that has this exact same model. And here's how I identified it. When you look at it, I don't know if you could see the little detail that's like carved into the receiver. There's like a bird. Here's a clearer picture of it. So I was able to see this close up with my, magnification loop and everything, and match it to this picture in this magazine. This sales promotion is from 1948. And it is advertised $6.50, and they call this the king of all air rifles. You could see a little tube of steel shot is 5 cents. So that's actually not that bad, But I did see advertisements for these Model 25s back in the teens, where the air rifle was a couple bucks. So how times have changed. You'd probably pay like for something of this caliber. I thought I saw them for, I think they still make this. They canceled the Model 25 for a few years, and then they brought it back. So that's pretty crazy. But I didn't think I'd be able to identify this. But when I got my hammer and I just tapped it lightly, all the heavy stuff came off, and I was surprised to see all that detail on there. Now we get to the marbles, what I really like. And I don't have much to say about these. I mean, I find clay marbles and all kinds of stuff, some marbles into the 1860s. So I don't know what era these are from. I just like that there's a variety of them. Some are larger. I don't find the larger ones all that often. But maybe you know what brands these are. Are they Marble King, Acro Agate, or any other number of marbles? Let me know in the comments. So here's some marbles from the Cuyahoga. That brown, large brown one in the center, that's a Bennington German handmade marble from the 1860s. Another clay marble. There's uranium marbles in here that glow. That big one right there that's like a light green, that's uranium marble. And I like them in a clear jar. These are jars that I find. And so let's get the new ones in there. And we're starting a new jar today. See how long it'll take me to fill up that second jar. Free antique marbles. You can't beat that. And I hope you enjoyed the adventure. And until next time, happy hunting, everybody.